Hello everyone and welcome back. So last video we talked about the mistakes that are quietly holding beginners back in the gym. And to be honest, the response that I got to that video was actually really good. So thank you so much. But now I guess the next step is actually, okay, but where do I actually start? How do I put a proper plan together? And that is exactly what today's video is. This is going to be your step-by-step guide to putting a workout plan together from scratch. No fluff, no complicated nonsense, just a clear, practical walkthrough that actually makes sense for someone who's just getting started. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do before you even set foot inside a gym, before you even think about the exercises or your schedule, is actually get clear on your goal. What do you want to achieve? Because your goal shapes everything. The exercises you pick, how many days you train, how hard you push, all of it flows from what you're actually trying to achieve. Now, funnily enough, a lot of people actually skip this step. They just kind of hope that doing stuff changes something. And what usually happens is nothing much really. And then that's why they can't figure out why they're not achieving anything. So, what are you actually going after? Are you trying to lose body fat? Are you trying to lose or build muscle? Are you trying to get stronger, improve your general fitness and health? To be honest, there is no right or wrong answer here, but you do need to pick one. A great way to make sure that you stick to your goal is to make a SMART target. So this stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant and timely. So instead of saying I want to get fit, something like I want to be able to do 10 push-ups with good form in 8 weeks. This is far more useful because you can actually track it and know when you've hit it. Once you've got the goal, everything else just becomes a lot easier to figure out. Okay, so next up, and this is a big one, be realistic. Like, how much time can you actually commit to training each week? I see this all the time, especially in consultations. Somebody's really fired up. They're like, yeah, I'm going to train 6 days a week. And then when it gets to it, they're only doing 2 because they realise that life gets in the way and the whole thing just falls apart. And to be honest, it's not a discipline problem. It's a planning problem. Working out 2 to 4 times per week for 30 to 45 minutes is plenty enough to see real progress. I want you to hear that if you're somebody that has been telling yourself you don't have time to train. You don't need to spend hours in the gym. You need consistency. And if 30 minutes is all you've got, then 30 minutes is what you need to make use of. So look at your actual week. When do you realistically have a window, an ideal window, where you could get a training session in? And then build your plan around that. 3 solid sessions a week that you can actually do will always beat 6 sessions that you then keep skipping. Okay, so now we're actually getting to the actual building of a plan. And for beginners, there's one approach that consistently comes out on top, and that's the full body workout. Full body workouts are beneficial because they allow you to target all the key muscle groups several times a week. This is important not only for muscle growth and muscle development, but also because it gives beginners the chance to practice a variety of movement patterns on a regular basis. 3 full body sessions a week is enough to make solid progress while also being achievable for most people. It's not so little that you stall, and it's not so much that you burn out. A Monday, Wednesday, Friday structure works really well to ensure enough recovery in between sessions, especially when you're just getting started. If you're a newbie and you go straight into a leg day, you could potentially hurt yourself. The gap between sessions matters because your muscles don't actually grow when you're in the gym. They grow when you're resting and recovering. The gym is just the stimulus to provide that growth. Now, as you get more experience, say after several months of consistent training, you might want to look at other options like an upper-lower split if you're now training 4 times a week. But honestly, for the first 3 to 6 months, full body 3 times a week, that's fine. It does not need to be overcomplicated. Okay, so now you're doing full body sessions, but what actually goes into a full body session? This is where a lot of beginners get lost, and it's usually because they go straight to copying random workouts that they've seen on social media rather than actually understanding the underlying logic and why you're doing those exercises. Here's the logic. Your body has a handful of fundamental movement patterns, and if you cover all of them in each session, you can know that you've done a good job. These are squat patterns, so this is obviously bodyweight squats, goblet squats, leg press, barbell squats. You've got a hinge pattern, so Romanian deadlifts, hip bridges, conventional deadlifts. A horizontal push, so that's your press ups, dumbbell chest press, bench press. Then you have a horizontal pull, which is dumbbell row, cable rows, seated rows. A vertical push, which is shoulder press, dumbbell push press. A vertical pull, so lat pull down and assisted pull-ups. Cover all of these movement patterns and sprinkle in a little bit of core work like planks, dead bugs and side planks, and you've got a solid workout. And that's it. You don't need 15 exercises. You just need to do the right ones and get them done well. Your sessions should be focused on compound movements with a little bit of isolation work for any muscles that you specifically want to target. So, for example, biceps or abs. Keep your sessions on the shorter side, so around 45 minutes to an hour, and you'll get the same results in a fraction of the time of the more complicated programs. Now let's talk numbers, so the actual reps and sets. Because this is where most beginners go either way too complicated or they just randomly start picking numbers. So a good starting point is 2 to 5 sets per exercise and 5 to 15 reps per set to start with. If you're not too sure, 10 reps is a solid middle ground. For most beginners, I'd suggest starting at 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps for your main lifts. Starting with lighter weights and higher reps is ideal for beginners as it helps build endurance and strength, and it means you can focus on form and building that mind to muscle connection. As for how hard you should be working, this is important. So you want the last couple of reps of each set to genuinely feel challenging. Not so hard that your form falls apart, but not so easy that you could quite easily do another couple of reps. So choose weights that are heavy enough that the last couple of repetitions are challenging but not impossible. But where you couldn't complete another rep with good form. Okay, so what about your rest period? Well, keep it simple. 1 to 2 minutes is a solid guideline. The goal is to wait the least amount of time you need, but still rest enough to perform the next set safely and with proper form. If you're doing heavier, lower rep strength work, then you might need up to 3 minutes. If it's lighter and higher reps, then you might only need 60 seconds, both of which is usually fine. Okay, so next step, warm-ups. Now, I know they can be a little bit annoying because you just want to get into the gritty part of the actual workout, but warm-ups are a non-negotiable. Skipping the warm-up opens you up to a whole range of injuries, from simple sprains to long-term impingements. But don't panic, warming up is simple and you only need to do 10 minutes. So start with 5 to 10 minutes of light cardio. This could be a walk on the treadmill, a gentle spin on the bike, whatever gets your blood moving. And then from there, move into some dynamic stretches focused on the muscles that you're going to train. So if you're going to do a leg day, that might be leg swings, hip circles, maybe some bodyweight squats. If you're going to be doing upper body, you might want to do some arm circles or shoulder rolls or press-up movements. The whole thing should take 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes protect you from setbacks that could take you out of the gym for weeks. So trust me when I say it is worth it every single time. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to progressive overload. This might be the most important concept in the whole video, so I want you to make sure that you're listening to this properly. Once you've got your plan, and you're consistent with it, the thing that actually drives progress over time is this principle called progressive overload. This is the principle of gradually increasing the stress placed on your body to stop plateauing. So what does this look like in practice? Well, your workouts can progress by increasing the weight that's lifted, increasing the number of reps, or adding an extra set. That's it. It doesn't have to be traumatic. Adding one extra rep or half a kilo more weight is genuine progress. It might seem counterintuitive to repeat the same workouts over an extended period of time, but without doing the same exercises consistently, you're not giving your body the chance to progress. You need to follow the same plan for anywhere between 4 to 8 months, really, for real progress to be made. And this is why randomly jumping between workouts every week, even if they do look impressive on Instagram, is one of the biggest things holding people back. Consistency with a simple plan beats variety with a complicated one every time. And if you want to learn more about progressive overload, I do have a video on my channel, so please go check that out. So while we're talking about the plan, let's talk about what goes between the sessions. Rest days. Jumping from spending your evenings on the sofa to then being in the gym 6 days a week is a huge lifestyle change, and you won't be getting enough rest, which will lead to poor recovery and potentially injuries. Rest days are not lazy days. These are the days that your body is actually doing the work. So it's repairing muscle tissue, it's getting stronger, it's adapting. So think of rest days as earned days. You earn your gym results on rest days. They're part of the process. While some muscle soreness is completely normal, you should stop if you feel actual pain and give yourself genuine time to rest and recover between sessions, because this is when your body rebuilds and then it gets stronger. Last step, and this one ties everything together, track your sessions. I talked about this in the last video, but it's worth repeating here in the context of building a plan. Keep a record of your workouts, either in a specific app, as notes on your phone, or written down on pen and paper. Include the exercises you completed, the number of sets and reps, and the weights used. This will help you see your progress over time and adjust your workouts as needed. Tracking also enables you to gradually increase the weight or intensity with progressive overload to continue challenging your muscles and making gains. Reviewing your progress can also highlight strengths and areas for improvement, helping you adjust your routine as needed. This is also just genuinely motivating. Like when you look back and see that 6 weeks ago you were pressing 20 kilos and now you're pressing 30. That's tangible proof that the work is then paying off. And that proof then keeps you going on the days when motivation is maybe a bit thin on the ground. Right, so let's just put it all together into what actually a beginner's week could look like. So Monday, we're doing full body session. We're going to squat, we're going to do a hinge, a horizontal push, horizontal pull, and one core exercise. 3 sets of 10, 5 reps each, about 45 minutes. Tuesday, we're going to rest or do some light activity, a walk, some mobility work, nothing too demanding. On Wednesday, we're going to do a full body session. Same structure, maybe slight weight increase where you can. And then Thursday is going to be another rest day. Friday, full body session again, tracking your weights, aiming to beat last week's numbers somewhere. And then Saturday and Sunday, rest or a movement that you enjoy, like a hike, a swim, or a sport. Not structured training, but just active living. And that's it. That's a week that will actually produce results if you do it consistently and progressively for a long period of time. So there you go. That's how you build a workout plan from scratch as a beginner. Set a clear goal, be realistic with your time, train full body 3 times a week, cover the fundamental movement patterns, apply progressive overload, rest properly, and track everything. Simple structure, consistent execution, and the number one thing I want you to take away from this is that you do not need a complicated plan. You need a good enough plan that you'll actually stick to it. The best workout routine in the world is useless if you don't do it. If you want help putting together a personalised plan, one that's built specifically for you and around your goal and your needs and your schedule and your current level, then that's exactly what I do with my clients, and I'd love to help you. So all the details can be found in the description box down below. If this video is helpful, give it a like, and it genuinely helps more people find this content. Drop a comment below and tell me what your main training goal is right now. I read every single comment that I get, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you next time. Bye.